Hello everybody and welcome to Reassembly. So today I'm just going to be building some ships for the Last Stand Navy, which is my little mod that I'm making based off of my little, made up universe of the Forever Cold War. So of course I love my Last Stand Navy, the last stand for humanity, the last stand for an ordered reality eternally. Um, just the last soul of ordered man and woman. The last controlling force, the last true navy of humanity. The last army to hold order to its chest and say, "Very Virindi." So I've been making this mod in the background. Now up here you'll see a lot of ships. Now the bulk of these ships are made by members of the community. So I reached out to the Reassembly Discord server because I know pretty much everyone there. They're all great guys. They're all wonderful, wonderful, a crazy lot that I enjoy eternally. And so I reached out to a few of them that I know like to build ships and enjoy building mod ships, and so I threw them over a copy of my Last Stand Navy. I actually have them on a little Discord server where I just keep them up to date on things. And so I have made the bulk of these ships, so a lot of this stuff is mine. But there are a few things, such as here, Husk made this. I abbreviated as HC, which is just the Husk class. So you'll see that Floof and Husk and a bunch of other people. Sorry. I've got a runny nose today, so my apologies if I cough my face off. But you can see that Husk and Floof, as well as Samplecrum submitted some ships as well. But yeah, it's primarily just Husk and Floof right now that I have actually integrated into this whole thing. So ignore this. This is the LSN Palladium, which is just what I throw this in with them so that if they want to go into a campaign game and build their ships in a campaign, because building ships in the campaign is much quicker and easier than building it in the sandbox. So I just throw this over with them. I throw this to them along with all the blocks and factions and stuff, and they can just build ships for it. But a lot of this is mine. So here we have the Balkitica, we have the Ripper class cruiser Mark II, we have if you extrapolate deployment craft, we have the Furiard. But then here we have one of much fluff, one of Floof's ships. It's quite an interesting design. I've actually been toying with it. I'm sorry, Floof. This isn't the original. I just changed the direction of the arrows because he made a very cool effect on the front with these triangle blocks. I've actually never thought about doing that before, but I really like it. I love it. I just wanted the triangles going in that way because if they're going backwards, then the whole ship kind of looks off. Also, I reduced the size of that, and I'm toying with the engines right now just because it looks a little silly. But beyond that, I love what Husk's done. I mean, not bloody Husk, what Floof's done with his ships, as well as this Aryan Titan. I really like it, actually. But this isn't really for criticism. But Husk has also done a brilliant job. So Husk has actually made me two massive stations, basically, which are really cool looking. I love what he did with the storage blocks. Because there's these little storage area cubes, and they only have one attachment point, so it kind of makes it interesting to build with them. Just kind of a limitation I put in there for fun's sake. And then he did a very interesting thing with all the little, the little struts. And there's a few different types. There's a couple different scales of. Ignore the Orion class cannons; those are for fun. But there's three scales of factory that are just quite nice. It's always nice to just have different types of factory to build with. Of course, we also have massive shields and tiny shields and baby little teeny shields wherever I can find them. Where are the teeny shields? Yeah, you have the two little MRFs. What did I call them? I can't remember it's like an MRF or an MRV or something. Either way, yes, we also have the Husk class Trojan. We have Floof once again. quite an amusing little ship. I find it amusing that he likes his sort of arrow constant to go backwards. Not all the time, as you can see, but you know, with this and with this, well, if we flip this around, you'll see how it looked original. Ooh, okay, Lamp. So what have you done? Kind of, it looked like that, and I don't know why, but it doesn't suit well because the entire ship is an arrow going in that direction. So to have anti-pose arrows kind of breaks up the satisfaction, the pleasure of looking at the ship, which is a bit unfortunate, but you know, whatever. However, it works really nicely here, just because this kind of looks like a freighter. I mean, it is Frigate 557. Here we have another ship from Much Fluff, which is, honestly, I like what he did with this. I kind of wish he didn't do this, but I'm going to refine that, or actually just talk to him. But I actually haven't spent much time critiquing my fellow builders' inputs yet. So I've just kind of been trying to focus on get the actual mod done amongst, you know, just my own life, but whatever. Then we have another big Husker station, which is the Huskian Regional Command Center. It'll say by lapsave now, but that's just because the mod ships within a mod always default to the name of, you know, whoever uploaded it. So I can't really give them credit, which is sad. But we all know. That's why it's called the Husk class and the Floof class. The Fluff class! Once again, we have a few very, very interesting ships from Husk. I love the look of this. It's very, very cool. This thing looks exactly like the LSN Pointer, which is a ship I've already designed. It's actually the command ship for the LSN, and this Floof has pretty much already done the heavy lifting for me, which is hilarious because he's already done this big forward mount section, which is, you know, quite crucial, and for the pointer ship. And then Fluff obviously has this big area on Titan, which is very cool, very cool. Here's a bunch of VMPIs. The cost is massive because I nerfed the VMPI cost. I made it cost a hell of a lot more than what it costed originally. I think it's 1000p, so yeah, that drops the cost down quite severely. Also, I can't remember what else's cost I buffed, but for some reason that's just incredibly costly. And then we get back to the LSN Palladium. Yeah, so I'm just going to spend a little while kind of building ships. So here we have just me trying to remember how I used to build ships, because I've lost my flair. So I feel like I've lost my flair, which is never a nice thing. So this ship is kind of getting that's much better. That's much nicer. This ship is kind of getting the blunt treatment, which is something that I'm doing with, give me a sec, which is something that I'm doing with the LSN Proto-Ferolder. Now, this is the Proto-Ferolder because it's a prototype Ferolder. It has its two big Orion class cannons, which are its mainstay, and has one very nice big shield, as well as two VMPI engines, which is supposed to be enough to make it go, but they can make it go, but it kind of... Oh, okay, it's turning much better this time. I buffed up the torque of it. What the hell is with this? What? Why are there two massive fractures in my ship? Why? Well, it's not here, but yeah, okay, whatever. That's weird. Why did that happen? Now, I do have to admit that this thing being here messes things up badly, but that's very weird. So the thing is, this I did literally build that to hold this and keep everything else in sanity too. So I mean, you can see the weird little jump around I have to do with one of this scale, the little scale. It's weird. It's always weird. Good old lovely reassembly. But at least I managed to get a big shield into this giant thing. And so I'm gonna work more on this just now, but I want because this is kind of the thing I really want to get done. Because it's the fun LSN real ship, so to speak. It's like the true big dreadnought, big daddy dreadnought. Although this craft is wonderful, and I love that. So that's the Rivnoza heavy cruiser, which that's not even a cruiser. That's a bloody dreadnought at that scale. This is a Titan. This is a Titan, and I'm happy to call that a Titan. I mean, all these. Oh, this is a dreadnought. This is kind of Titany and Titany. But this one is like 6,000, so. But in terms of scale, I would put but this is like Dreadnought battle cruiser. I suppose it doesn't actually have that much mass. It has a lot of empty space, so I guess you could call it just a big, heavy battle cruiser. But then this thing has a lot of equipment, a lot of space, and you can tell by the cost, it's like nearly. In fact, it's nearly double. It's only off by like 1,000. So this thing you could class as a Dreadnought, or like a super Dreadnought, or just a Titan. But this thing is is an Orion class, obviously. Just it's on a whole different scale. By quite a bit, by quite a large margin, but that's regardless of the point. So yeah, I love what my team has submitted to me. We have a little VVI fighter here. Hey, it has one VMPI Mark 1, and that's literally it. If it can't fly with it, then basically the VMPI Mark 1 is unbalanced. But it can sort of fly. It can't fly well, but it can fly decently. Should probably give the VMPI Mark 1 a bit of torque. The command core does have torque itself, just to make life easier for ship designers, but yeah, basically if the VVI can't fly well, everything's unbalanced. And it can't fly well, so I think I did something weird to the Mark 1. I've been doing something weird to all of them just because I'm trying to balance it. Because the idea is that this faction has very few thrusters that fill the role of having many thrusters, you know what I mean? The Feralda here has 2 massive thrusters, which is all it needs to go forward and turn. But then it also has these auxiliary ones to just help it turn, because it's so bloody huge and heavy. And of course we have all these big, nice, lovely cannons. And then there's a variety of other equipment. So we have, I've been toying around with having lots of different structured deployers. I mean, you can customize them, which is a nice thing, but the idea is that you can basically build your own little base, on any asteroid. So you can put down a few. So one of these. So this one is an ODF or orbital drop facility. This one functions as a miner, so it generates R, of course, and it'll build a little mining structure. Then we have a little surveillance post, which is basically a PD structure. Then we have the heavy defense, which is just some deterrent, some light deterrent. Actually, it's a medium. It's pretty tough deterrent. Then we have a command facility, which actually produce units, and then a heavy facility. This is actually, that's still wipe, and this one's also still wipe. And then we actually have 3 just to deploy plants, because honestly, sometimes you want to just have plants. So I have here 3 that just deploy the normal faction 5, which is like the default natural plant. Then we also have glass, structural glass, which is just equally as tough as this stuff, as the superior Ubercarbon hull. But it's just nice because you can put little. So here's the command center, and the idea is that it has the nice windows on it, which is just kind of cool. I don't like the windows of this because it makes the inside seem. It makes the whole thing seem really small to have windows this gargantuan, so I might have to tone that down. Like pretty severely, just because I wanted to still look like a massive structure, which, I mean, all these things technically kind of are, if you think about it. I mean, I want it to look like a big structure without actually being a big structure. Yeah, it's a little better, and if I add. It's just then it gets a little too mono-structured. I don't like these little weird lines that get created here for some reason. And you can see the little weird pockle issues, and I'm not too sure why those are things. Sometimes you just need to burn the universe. Okay. Okay, it's fixed itself. It's fixed itself! No, it hasn't. You... Ah! okay. I'm just gonna have to disassemble this entire thing. Ah! I'll just do it later. I'm not gonna worry about it now. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to this ship. Now this ship is kind of just sort of a mid-range, craft. I'm not worried about committing any changes right now because I was just toying around with that. But I want fleet palette. Thank you very much. Great. Okay, what did I? Yeah, because there's a lot of really big ships, but not enough what I call mid-range class, so like the Trojan and stuff like that. There were a few other ships that the guys submitted that they were a little bit too overpowered. Or just didn't really have the look I kind of was trying to go for. Because I literally just told the guys, hey, build whatever you think looks cool. And then, and I was saying to myself, I'll pick what looks the best, or at least what I think is the most appropriate. But I'm very happy with what everyone has made so far. Perhaps Fluff's engine design could use a little beautifying, but I mean, did the best he could with what he got. I mean, it's not like these engines are very nice to look at if you don't build them in this sort of array fashion, or like kind of, because I mean there's not all that much space you can put for them, and it's kind of counterintuitive. This is one I made, yeah. You can see even I have to end up kind of just sticking them wherever the hell, literally, just to make it work. So I mean, look, I'm not perfect either. Anyway, so let's get back to this ship. Now this ship is kind of fulfilling, like I was saying, kind of a mid-range brawler sort of role. Do I really don't have any triangles on that yet? That's surprising. So we're just gonna do ye olde octagon integrationary setup. I'd rather have these two like further in the back, although that's not very structurally secure. And the idea is that the LSN are very structurally secure. They're military vessels that should have been designed for maximum survivability. And the issue is that this opens it up to shots from the rear, but that's fine. It looks okay. Kind of want to go for this very stopped look. So some nice angle, but at the same time some very controlled stopping. It's I suppose in the end it's an attempt to create a look of order, or perhaps a look of control. Perhaps I mean, little things like that just help to build the character of a ship. Or in fact, the character of anything, from buildings to equipment to weaponry to uniforms and stuff like that. So yeah, I kind of just want to bring that feeling of force. I suppose force would be the wrong word. It's not like this is an oppressive regime or something like that. It's not like that at all. But that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay. Also means I can reinforce this slightly. Slightly. 3 is usually a better, not always a better idea, but usually a better idea. Let's just fill in the rest of the blocks. And now I just need you. Thank you very much for your cooperation, Mr. Kazandanar. Mr. Who? Mr. Kazandanar. That's all my name. Well, it is now. Take that. But as you can see here, it leaves it looking unfinished, which is the primary issue with this sort of look, and so I kind of need to taper it off at some points, but yet not at others. So you can see that looks a lot better already. And this here should optimally continue like that, but I'd have to sacrifice some structural integrity, but I'm honestly not too worried. Doesn't matter. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. It'll hold together. It won't come flying apart too quickly. But you know, the idea is that it loops around a little bit. You know, sort of an encompassing look. The orange sort of doesn't leave anything, almost to a bit. I don't know about that one. I don't know entirely about what I'm saying, but just roll with it, because I'm talking to myself more than anything else. I'm kind of trying to make mental notes to myself, because I mean that doesn't look nice, but pull it back a little bit, and maybe it could. You know, gives it a bit of stability. Whether you realize it or not, we all want to see stability. Structural integrity. Now that looks fine, ish. But it feels like it lacks something, doesn't it? This feels too bland. Because the nice thing about this blue and orange is it can break up the look of things. But then at the same time, it creates issues. Which is why I have these yellow tinted bits. It's just to add a bit of interest to the entire structure, because a little bit of yellow just goes a long way. At least with dark scales, sometimes. Because you can see what that does. It gives it a bit of flair. I do want to remove the blue effect, however, but then that would kind of, I guess, ruin it. Just give it a big that. A big that. Great stuff, Labs. Great job. Yeah, you see, I don't like that fading between it, which is why so if I build things like that, it needs to be in one solid chunk that's going to fade together nicely and not look absolutely weird and out of place, which is currently what it does look like. In my vague attempts to make this more interesting to the eye. There, that looks pleasant. That actually looks quite pleasant. Yeah, I like that blue tipping of the edges. That's actually a very nice effect. It's not all of the top, you see. It's a section that kind of curves, and I just really like that. It looks lovely. In fact, I kind of wanted to stop a little more, stop a little bit before or go even further. But I don't think I'd be able to pull that off nicely. Also this, I'm now thinking I could restructure. So okay, things are going nuclear right now. Give me a second. Whoa, what was... You know what? Why not? Let's just make it look weird and cool and mad. Kind of like that. I don't like it much, but I like it enough to say I could like it more. Let's see. That's not the worst. Trust me, far worse things could have happened. Far worse things could have happened. Did I? Sheesh. This is what happens when you're talking and you get sidetracked by yourself. You forget to carry changes across the spectrum. Okay. No. See, flatness is nice when it's flanked by point, but not always, sadly. Okay. Well, I'm gonna just do what I did with that to a degree. The idea is Unfortunately, I don't have a micro triangle to put in there to make it really kind of similar. So I just have to suffice with a little. Well, I say a micro long triangle. Okay, that looks honestly that looks good enough. That looks good enough, and we'll just cycle that over. Okay, good. Ooh, yes, yes, yes. I like that. I like that a lot. These areas feel a bit bland and underutilized. Because I mean that's a big chunky piece of armor. But, I don't think I could get away with this pleasantly. Maybe I'll just dump the whole flatness. Good enough. Okay. Am I happy with that? I think closing it off kind of ruins it. So I'm gonna leave it open. Just because that kind of looks. I don't know why. It looks really structurally unstable. Unstable? The hell is unstable? Unstable, but at the same time, I just like that. Perhaps I could do that instead. That might. Okay, that's. But then it completes that structure, and then you just have this big bump at the back, and I don't. It either needs to inset slightly like that, or alternatively, to give it just to give it some pleasant form. Trying to think what I could put there. Nothing really. I was just trying to think what I can fill the center of the space with, really. Okay, that's a sufficient amount of PD. That's a sufficient amount. I do want to have a few weapons back here, however. So just there and there. Could use Thumper Varias, but that might actually be fine. I don't know. Let's see how this flies, actually, for the first. Okay, so it goes forward good, it stops good, it turns on a dime, pretty much. Fires well. It doesn't cost all too much. It's a 2,840, so. And honestly, it doesn't look all too bad. So, I mean, it's got a lot of HP at the face, and it's got some good damage potential. It's not overly complicated, it's quite pleasant. It doesn't have a shield generator, but I'm sure I could make it do without. I should probably just make a square shield generator, but I don't like square shield generators. It doesn't look right for a square thing to create a circular shape, It just doesn't. It doesn't. But that just looks too small. Because it doesn't even cover the ship. But to make anything bigger would be a bit of a stretch. So I think I'm just gonna. Yeah. So I think I just need to make an administrative decision and not have anything there. I mean, these big cannons are circular, but kind of don't work. This thing could probably take an Orion class cannon somewhere. As you can see, I built this entire thing out of Orion classes and VMPIs purely to make its cost really crazy. But anyway, so this ship, you think of it as power and storage capacity, because that's, I mean, it already has massive power generation, but I'm talking like power storage. I suppose that's good enough. Perhaps it's not the most fitting of locations to place it, but we'll make it work. You know what? That's fine. That's fine. I like it. Actually, it's quite cool. Don't ask me. I don't know. Yeah, and this orange needs to finish off, though. It needs to finish off. It doesn't feel complete. Uh, okay, okay. Uh, what, what do you, okay. Oh, right. This orange feels too thick, and this feels too thin. It's like this whole thing has been stretched backwards, and it's weird. Weird. The issue is I can't resolve it like this because physically it's actually stretched backwards. But I don't want to remove these big nice chunks because they're good structure. Yeah, I'm just gonna tip it off. Really? Might as well. Am I right or am I right? I'm right, of course I am. uh, hmm. Okay, that's good enough. Okay. Export. Uh, I like giving it crazy numbers just because it makes it seem like this thing has actually been in development. Like it gives the entire faction more age, or at least it gives it more lore age. If, you know, it makes it like if you look at it and you see like Mark 213, it's like okay, there would therefore need to be a lot of ships previous to this or previous iterations. Which thusly implies that there's been enough time for there to be that many iterations, you know, within a reasonable standpoint. You can't have 3 marks in the same day. Not if you're in a war spanning a galaxy or something. I mean, you know, it would take years to update designs. So I don't know. In my mind, it gives it longevity or age. Okay, that's fine. Well, I suppose longevity is completely the wrong word, but who cares? Am I right? That looks interesting. That looks interesting. Yeah, why not? Why not? Just re-export it. And it's 2844. Probably squeeze in a little more. Probably should. Probably should. Let's give it some closer range combat capacity. So in these little sections here, just put some Repardia varias. At this point it's kind of overloading the area with little guns, but that's fine. Just pull a few of them out. That kind of that makes it look a little better. Just a little bit. Just that little bit better is what helps. Now this back section, I'm still not happy with it. I don't like this little line that's generating, but at the same time I like the little line it's generating. It's like I don't like it, but I do like it. I don't know what to do. That fixes it. It's just the whole int line generation, the int line generation for the ships, for the graphics. It's a little bit silly sometimes. Right. I think I'm happy with that. Maybe. Yeah, okay. Perhaps a little bit of extra. Hold for the core. Hold for the core. Da 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 da. Okay, whatever. Actually, that looks nice, and I like that little effect back there. Just sha. Okay. Final iteration. These thumper varias at the back. I don't like it. I don't like it having such close proximity to the engine, because it kind of melds in then. I'm talking visually melds in, because then it's do big things in the same area. It's like, not a fond of it. I mean, you can probably tell that I like everything to have a bit of space between it. Just helps with the aesthetic. Whatever. I'm gonna stop with that, because that honestly, that looks nice. It looks okay. It looks good. It'll work. It's fine. It's all right. It's got its nice two big engine areas which can be shot out and give the player a bit of fun. And also it's decently capable. It can defend itself at long range and at short range and at medium range. It's a capable. It's your standard LSN, well balanced battleship that isn't strong in any one field, but is decent enough in all of them to kind of survive your generalized enemy target. So I like that idea. Because that's probably more the RB. Probably the Rebel Battalion would probably be more better at that sort of system. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, so it has its close range weapons and it has its medium and long range weapons. The Thumper Varias are, of course, the heavy long range. I say long range. Could probably use a little more range. It's still pretty big range. And then we have the normal Galzion. Thumper Varias actually have the same range as the rail cannon. Or was it the normal ones that have the same range as the rail cannon? I can't remember, but whatever. This is usually a good way to tell how effective all your weapon systems are. Just smash these. Each one of these blocks, I believe, is 1,000. Yep. That's 9,000 HP, right? So each big block is a 9,000 HP. That's pretty dangerous. Okay. You can see how quickly this thing is. Which is why it needs a nerfing. Which is why it needs to be anti-buffed, It needs to be made weaker. It's just too powerful. But it also has some of the big Thumper Varias, as you can see. Those are the scale 3 Thumper Varias, and they're scary. They're very scary. Very scary. As you can tell by their explosive radius. It's beautiful. But we won't even talk about the Orion cannon. We just won't. We just I think let's just use it as propulsion for a few seconds. Yeah, so that's the Orion cannon, which is my pride and joy. I wish I could make the projectile smaller, but I can't. So it just has to be that way. It annihilates those like 9,000 health blocks. I mean, these big mega mad cannons are purely for the sake of insanity. I mean, this ship is 12,000p, and it's armed to the teeth by ludicrous amounts. So yeah, I mean, you get the idea. This thing is it's the legacy. it's the first one I made. It's 13,000 cost. And it's a little silly. Oh, jeez, I love it. It's beautiful. It's pretty much a thing of beauty. Okay, good. That was exported. I haven't done anything to this yet. Good. All right, everybody. Well, I think that wraps up this little. No, 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 no. Too scared to delete it. Too scared. Okay, which one is the most up to date? It's this one, because the weapon systems haven't been changed by the AI, or at least by me controlling it. So that's the one I'm gonna. It's most up to date. Keep that where it is. Go away, proto folder. Okay. Let's make a little. Never mind. I have enough little things. I have a reparative outpost. Yeah, it has its repair pieces, so I don't need to worry about that. And there's also repair weapons. Your healer grow beams. So that helps. So here you can see Fluke's original design. You see, I don't like this back arrow effect. This kind of makes the ship look like it has ridges. In fact, that's exactly what it makes. It makes the ship look like it has ridges to me, and I don't know, a ship with ridges just doesn't seem too pleasant. I guess I just like a smooth construction type. So, oh well, that's okay. Oh, yeah, you're the outdated version. How do you fly? You fly right. It's got a lot of close range weapons, as you can tell. But the normal class 1 guns are too small to really get out of the ship. But that's because they're the class 1 guns. The Mark 1 guns. The scale 1 variety of these marks. The bigger versions are designed for the bigger ships, which is why this has those, because this can just do bah, and they go decently far. But then again, these are massive ships in Reassembly's usual scale, so what can I do? Alright, yeah, I think actually I'm going to conclude this. So, thank you very much, everybody, for watching, as always. Yeah. Not sure what else to say, really. So until next time, everybody. Cheerio.